The strongest emotions you feel are the ones you haven't named. Most people believe emotional control is about suppression or distraction. They're wrong. An entire field of neuroscience shows that the simple act of putting a feeling into words can dramatically reduce its power. But this technique has a dark side, a point where it becomes a trap. Where do you stand? By the end of this, you might change your mind. The core idea is almost deceptively simple. In a series of now famous studies at UCLA, researchers showed participants pictures of angry or fearful faces. As you'd expect, their amygdala, the brain's primitive alarm bell, lit up like a firework. Then, participants were asked to do something different. They were shown the same faces, but this time they had to choose a word to describe the emotion they saw. Words like anger or fear. The result was immediate. Activity in the amygdala went down. At the same time, a region of the prefrontal cortex, the brain's logical command center, powered up. The act of labeling the feelings seemed to apply a brake to the emotional engine. It was as if finding the word for the fire gave the brain the fire extinguisher. This is called affect labeling. Think of it like this. You're in a pitch-black room and you feel something brush against your leg. Panic floods your system. Your heart hammers your ribs. Your mind races with images of monsters, intruders, danger. Every possibility is infinite and terrifying. Then, you find the light switch, you flick it on. The monster is a jacket that fell off a chair. The moment you can name it, the panic vanishes. The formless, infinite dread collapses into a single, manageable object. An emotion without a name is like that monster in the dark. It's boundless. It's everything and everywhere. But giving it a label, this is anxiety, this is disappointment, this is a feeling of dread, puts a border around it. It contains it. You've taken an infinite threat and made it finite. That sounds convincing. A simple, elegant way to regain control. But there's a problem. This logic breaks down the moment you apply it to the deep wounds of human experience. Imagine sitting with someone in the raw, hollowed-out days after the death of their child. You watch them moving through their home like a ghost, the air thick with absence. They are consumed by a feeling so vast and shattering it has no single name. It's grief, yes, but it's also rage, it's disbelief, guilt, terror, and a bottomless aching love with nowhere to go. Now, offer them this technique. Tell them to simply label the feeling, I am feeling sadness. Does that 50% reduction feel like a relief? Or does it feel like a profound insult, an attempt to neatly categorize an experience that fundamentally defies categories? It feels like telling someone drowning in the ocean to simply label the water. This is the central critique against emotional labeling as a universal cure. For minor anxieties, the monster in the dark, it works beautifully. For profound suffering, it can become a form of avoidance. It's a way to intellectualize the pain, to stand outside of it with a clipboard and take notes, rather than surrendering to the messy, agonizing, unnecessary process of moving through it. Some emotional states require immersion, not observation. Grief must be felt, trauma must be processed viscerally in the body. Labeling it from a safe distance can be a defense mechanism, a sophisticated way to run away. It's the illusion of progress without any of the difficult work. And yet, the other side has its own blind spot. Refusing to label has a different, and perhaps more common danger. The alternative to labeling is often emotional fusion. It's the state where you don't feel angry, you are anger. You don't feel sad, you are sadness. The emotion is no longer a temporary weather pattern passing through you. It has become the entire climate. There is no space between you and the feeling. This is where people get lost. It's where a surge of anger leads to a thrown plate or a sent email that destroys a career. It's where a wave of anxiety becomes a debilitating, housebound panic that lasts for months. Fusion is drowning. Labeling creates the single most important thing you need in that moment, a little bit of space. The shift from I am anxious to I am a person who is currently experiencing a feeling of anxiety is monumental. That tiny gap is where choice lives. It's the space you need to decide how to respond, rather than simply reacting. That gap is the difference between being hijacked by your biology and using your conscious mind to navigate it. The emotion is still there. The waves are still crashing. But now, you have a surfboard. You are riding the wave instead of being crushed by it. The goal was never to make the ocean flat. But this brings us to a crucial distinction most people get wrong. There is a fine line between labeling and a far more destructive habit: rumination. Labeling is a clean, single observation. I feel a pang of jealousy. The thought arises, you note it, and it passes. Rumination is what happens when you grab onto that label and refuse to let it go. I feel jealous. Why am I like this? A good person wouldn't feel this way. There must be something fundamentally wrong with me. Their success is a reminder of my failure. Rumination is the label plus a looping, self-critical story. It's a courtroom drama where you are the prosecutor, the defendant, and the judge. Labeling is a diagnosis. Rumination is picking at the wound. One puts on the brakes. The other floors the accelerator. This is why some people find that paying attention to their feelings only makes things worse. They think they are practicing mindfulness, but they are actually practicing rumination. They aren't labeling their feelings, they are building a prison out of them, brick by self-hating brick. The skill isn't just about finding a word. It's about finding the word, acknowledging it without judgment, and then letting it go. That sounds simple, but it assumes you have the right words to begin with. The words we use for our feelings are not neutral. They are given to us by our culture, our family, our society. And those words come with baggage. A man expressing frustration at work might be seen as passionate or assertive. A woman expressing the exact same frustration is often labeled emotional, shrill, or difficult. The label transforms the experience, it changes how it is perceived by others, and eventually how it is perceived by the person themselves. Think about the language of protest. One person's righteous anger at injustice is another's violent rioting. The label chosen dictates the response. It determines who is the hero and who is the villain. Consider the concept of emotional granularity. Research by psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett shows that people who can identify and label their feelings with high precision have vastly better life outcomes. They can distinguish between feeling disappointed, frustrated, irritated, or apprehensive, while someone with low granularity just feels bad. That precision matters. If you feel bad, what's the solution? It's vague, but if you can identify that you feel unsupported, you suddenly have a clear path of action. You know what you need. A precise label illuminates the path forward. A vague label just leaves you in the dark. So the art of emotional labeling is also an art of vocabulary. It's about having a rich, nuanced palette to paint your inner world. Without it, you're trying to capture a sunset using only a black crayon. This is the real power. But it all rests on a huge unspoken assumption, that the goal is always to reduce an emotion's intensity. We focused entirely on negative feelings, anxiety, anger, fear. We treat them like problems to be solved, like fires to be extinguished. It makes sense, they're uncomfortable. But what about the other side of the coin? What about joy? What about awe, ecstasy, or profound, overwhelming love? Do you want to reduce their power by 50%? Imagine you're standing on a mountaintop, watching the sun rise, and the sheer beauty of it brings tears to your eyes. You feel a sense of connection to everything, a feeling of transcendence that words can't touch. In that moment, if you step back and think, I am now experiencing a feeling of awe, what happens? Does that enhance the experience, or does it shatter it? The very neurological mechanism that puts the brakes on fear might also put the brakes on bliss. The act of observing can pull you out of the act of experiencing. You shift from being a participant in the moment to being a spectator of your own life. This is the core tension. It's a fundamental trade-off between control and immersion, between regulation and raw experience. Labeling offers you safety, clarity, and control. It's a powerful tool to navigate the difficult, painful parts of being human. It keeps you from drowning, but that safety may come at a cost. The cost might be intensity. It might be the wild, unmediated, and sometimes terrifying beauty of feeling something with every cell in your body, without a filter, without a label, without a safety net. The most profound moments in life, both wonderful and terrible, often leave us speechless for a reason. So what do you think? When a powerful emotion rises in you, whether it's white-hot rage, deep grief, or ecstatic joy, what is your instinct? Is it to step back, find the word, and put it in a box to regain your sense of control? Or is it to lean in, to surrender to the raw force of it, for the sake of the experience itself? Where do you draw the line between regulating your life and truly living it?